As you're getting situated, make sure your body is set up in a way that's comfortable to breathe. So sometimes that means I kind of tuck my shoulder blades a little bit differently so the breath can flow more. Sometimes it's about the neck. I'm adjusting in a good way so I can feel it in and out of my throat. Allow yourself a couple of really good relaxing breaths. As we're allowing our body to breathe here, we'll take a moment to connect with the intention for today, the thought that we're playing with. And this intention it comes from how some days when I put way too much on my plate, I kind of go to every activity I have that day just dreading it. It's like, oh, I know that this is going to cost some energy and there's just so many things that require my energy today. And so some days I just like dread all the things. And I do it to myself. I put so much on my plate. But one thing that I've been practicing with recently is no matter how much or how little is on my plate, no matter who I'm going to meet, no matter what conversations I'm going to have, I try the best that I can to make more and more of my time what I would consider sacred. So let's chat for just a moment about what that sacred could look like. That's very different for every person. So when I think of sacred, I think of, instead of something that's super controversial that nobody could possibly agree with because there's such distinct sides, I think of sacred instead as something that kind of, it's almost like it's just right and true for everybody, or at least for you. So for instance, it just feels right and true to gaze at a beautiful sunrise. So that's an easy moment to make sacred. And it's just right and good to take a huge breath in and out, to smile, to be kind, to hum in such a way that you can feel the sound vibrations calming the heart. Things like that just feel right and good. So that's the kind of sacred that we're trying to explore as we're making more of the time that we have. So the way that we're going to be playing with this sacredness is we're specifically taking a hold of that idea that I mentioned, breathing. To me, that's one of those really sacred things when you're present with your breath. We're taking breath and we're kind of turning it into a metaphor in our practice. So we'll alternate between things that arch our heart open and then things that bring us into more of a forward fold shape. So Yogilates is easy because a lot of the movements we do take our legs toward us. So that's more of that forward fold shape. We'll do some of our breaks to take good little heart openers, help with that. The chest stays nice and spread. So in that way, it's almost like our physical body is taking huge inhales and huge exhales just by the positioning of our body. So in that way, it's like we're having a slow breathing class by the position of our body. So that's the fun little idea that we're playing with. So with that to help lead us on, let's begin some of the physical stuff. Let's start to take the knees into the chest. And as we're bringing a hand onto each knee, just start off with easy rocking for the spine a couple of times. A chance to tune into the back muscles, into the sacrum. And then from here, the first thing we're going to do is drop our feet down to the ground. And we're taking a nice bridge pose to be our first little heart opener. So it's almost like our body's taking a huge inhale. So this first one, we're just going to come up to the shape and stay. So I want us to press the feet into the ground, scoop up the tailbone, the hips, roll up one vertebrae at a time. If you can clasp hands behind the back, go ahead and go for that clasp. And just keep on feeling all these sensations going on in the body. So keep on feeling the feet pressing down into the earth. Keep on feeling the hips try to lift and feel all those muscles that help it. Feel the glutes helping to lift higher. Feel all sorts of these good sensations. We'll take a few more breaths. Feel the shoulders and chest opening, feel the throat gently compressing. So here, take one more good inhale. A nice exhale. Release the hands, roll the hips back down. So after that heart opener, we'll take our first thing that takes legs into the chest. So with this first one, hands go around the right knee. Left leg slides out to hover right above the ground. So this first one will be nice and slow as we're still easing our muscles into movement. So give a moment to completely tug that right knee in as much as you can. And then let's switch. Hands around the left knee. This right leg hovers. Kind of pull this left knee in nice and deep. You can continue to go slow like this. If anybody wants at any point to pick up pace, you can always have that option. Nice to at least go slow the first two, just so each side is nice and open, but then you can always increase difficulty. Whatever repetitions you're going with, try to keep the breath flowing. Let's take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Plant the feet back by the glutes, hands by the hips. And let's take a couple of bridge poses back to back now. So inhale, really feel yourself rolling up one at a time. Exhale, dropping right back down one at a time. Rolling right back up. And traveling down. So let's take another set of 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Now this time with hips on the ground, take right leg straight up to the sky, grab on. Again, this first one is mostly to help stretch the muscles. Let's start to slide left leg long. It can be resting on the ground for the first one. And a couple more breaths trying to pull that right hamstring in. We'll switch sides, so drop the right leg. Left comes up, pause for the stretch. Good, and let's start some nice scissor switches. So right leg up, left leg hovers, and then switch. So again, this could be something where you go nice and slow, or you can go at a pace that feels better for you, as fast as you wish. Even an option to not use hands if you want to just use straighten the muscles of the legs to create the lift. Good. So here, let's take 5 and 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and always know you have permission to take breaks if you need to for a little while. That's always an unspoken rule of my classes. But this time, what we're going to do for our bridge poses, so going back to that heart opener, is take a block, place the block at low height, right under the feet, and feel how it is to do a couple of bridge poses with that extra height that we're going at. Hands on the floor by the hips. Keep the knees the same width as the hips. And when you're ready, start to push the feet down, roll the hips up, and make the journey back down with the exhale. Good. A few beautiful rounds like that. Let's take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and we've earned a little rest after all we've done, so let's take our right ankle to the left thigh and take that figure 4 stretch. Nice little hug. So that space being created in the right hip. Let's start to release the ankle on this side, taking it right to second side. One more huge breath in and out for this side. That exhale will release. We'll play with this bridge just a little bit more. Scoot your block up to middle height. When you place your feet up, if it feels like you don't have quite enough surface area, you can put both blocks at middle height there. So make sure it feels good and you can use it to press off of. If it takes a little bit more time, that's okay. Just keep on adjusting, get your feet into place. Good. So then when you're ready, hands are on the floor. Let's take 8 cycles. Lifting up with our inhale. All the way down, exhale. And 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2, 1. Good. Scoot the feet. So leave the blocks here. We're going to do one more height change with the blocks, but scoot the feet to be just a little bit wider than the mat, planting on the floor. Hands help to scoop up the head. So head can be heavy. We're not crunching through the neck, but we're doing some nice crunches up and down. So with our exhales, we pulse up and pulse down. Again, it's less about curling the forehead in. It's more about just gazing up at a good forward angle and keeping the face flush to that angle the whole time. So same thing as before. You're welcome to go slower. You're welcome to pump them out fast if you wish. Either way, though, just keep this breath flowing for us. Take a couple of reps to play with how much surface area you can get of your back off the ground. Let's take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then let's bump our blocks up to the tallest heights. I know, this one's funny. This one is like a really funky position. So, more daunting for sure. You'll kind of have to play with how your feet need to rest on it since this is the smallest surface area of them all. So you'll kind of play with, for me, I can feel best when it's like the arch of my foot right on the center, but some people might want more of the heels or more of the ball of the foot, so you can play with it. It's gonna be nice and slow. I'm gonna count down 10, but you can go faster if you want more. Take 9. Always, yeah, readjust if it's not at the right spot. 8. 7. Notice that last moment before you touch the ground. 6. See if in that last moment, rather than just collapsing down, you can still keep it slow. You're doing okay. Here's 5. And 4. So those glutes working. 3. 2. Awesome efforts. Last 1. Beautiful. Release. Put the blocks off to the side. And then similar to before, we're taking our right leg on top of the left, but instead of being an ankle cross, this one's going to be a deep thigh cross. So crossing as tightly over the knee as you can. From that, bring the thighs in, grab onto each ankle. So you want to muscularly use the arms to pull the legs in to a point where it's a good hip stretch. So if it's intense already, you can always scoot closer to the knees. That makes it less torque on the knees. But to the extent that it does feel useful for the hips, feel free to keep on muscularly using arm strength pull in. Good, and we've earned it after all those bridges. Let's take a nice little twist with the leg cross. So arms spread open, legs start to tilt all the way over to the left. Good. So hips relax back down. Uncross and recross with the left leg over. Thighs into the chest, grab onto ankles. Listen to your body to know that perfect amount of tugging the legs forward. Another huge breath in and out here. Release the arms to spread them open, legs in the cross, fall to right. Another good inhale. Nice exhale. Take the legs back up. Uncross them. Grab just one of the blocks. We're putting this block onto our right thigh, and our right elbow holds that block up. So notice how you can already squeeze those 2 points into one another, the thigh into the elbow, and feel how the abdominal muscles right underneath that area, or the spot that gets engaged by the squeeze. So that's half of this. The other half is left arm and leg stretching away from one another, and then crunch in to touch elbow and knee. So inhale whenever you stretch out, exhale whenever you touch in. Higher angle makes it easier. Lower, hovering above ground, makes it harder. So you can change your difficulty level. And don't forget about the right side. Keep pushing into the block. You're doing okay. Take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Allow ourselves to switch. So now it's left thigh and elbow that are pressing firmly into the block. Whenever you're situated, take your time. You can start off with that right side, stretching out, inhale, exhale, touch it in. Don't forget to push into the block. It would be easy just to kind of hold it in place, but this is about pushing. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Set the feet down. Lift the hips up like a bridge pose, but this time slide the block under the hips. It can be medium height or small height, you choose. And then we'll start to walk the feet away, as in feet getting closer to the front of the room. So this could be the knees still staying in a slightly bent shape. It could be legs sliding all the way long. The further the feet go, the more intense of a back bend it is. But feel how this shape is in the body. If it's too intense, you can always bump the block height down again. So all sorts of goodies getting stretched open. Even that nice little compression of the chin into the chest. That's really helpful for thyroid. Letting oxygen-rich blood pool at the thyroid, helping to heal it. Feel how even the act of breathing massages the intestines. One more huge inhale. Exhale, start to work the feet in. Lift the hips up off the block, return hips to the ground. And usually it takes me a moment for my sacrum to feel like it's back in a good spot. So feel free to either shimmy the hips left and right, or even take a full windshield wiper, knees tilting all the way to one side and then the other. So that easing some of that tightness in the sacrum. I think of it almost like a chiropractic work. It's like I push the sacrum in such a way that now, by adjusting it, I'm able to bring it into a slightly better spot. Good. So when that feels complete, let's take our block up again with this one. This is one of the hardest of them all, so don't feel bad about taking easier variations if you need to. The idea is the block starts off in our ankles or calves. Once it's in place, we lower arms and legs away from one another. We crunch back up, grabbing onto block, and then the block is in the hands. Lower again, and then switch back. Excuse me, I swallowed this bit. So we're going back and forth between block in legs and block in hands. So harder would be lowering it quite a bit lower. Easier is not going as far, or even just taking bent knees and letting the knees be what holds the block. So you choose that difficulty. Just make sure you can still breathe the whole time. So it's pretty hard, so let's just go for 5 more complete switches. 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, last one, 1. Amazing. Set that block down. We're going to take a fish pose. So to head to fish pose, we need to be sitting on our hands palm face down. So lift up the glutes so you can slide the hands under. Once you've got that in place, slide the legs back out long. Do essentially like a crunch position, lifting the head up, slide the elbows right underneath you. Once you're here, heart raises up to sky, rock the head down. Maybe crown of head touches the ground, but it's more about the heart trying to lift up. So even if head doesn't go all the way back, that's okay. The heart arching up, that lift, abdominal stretch, all sorts of goodies. 2 more breaths. After that second breath, head to tuck in, feel the hands. We're pressing our way up to sit and taking a nice, easy forward fold. This isn't one where we're trying to force our way really deep. Instead, just kind of let the back muscles get soft, kind of melting their way forward. Very, very easy. This is another good spot too where we could work on some neck tension. So it might feel nice to let the head rock to the right, rock left. Just feel after all those bridge poses, especially. Feel that whole back half of the body getting this chance to stretch. Let our feet into the plant. Hands flat behind us. We're going to try for 10 tricep dips. Again, same with any other thing. If you drop out early because of wrists or whatever, that's absolutely fine. So the tricep dip goes like this. We lift our hips up. From that shape, bend your elbows and straighten your elbows. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the hips up just for a moment and pull that big back bend. And drop hips to the ground. Boat pose. Let the wrist roll just a little bit. Good. And you can either just stay in boat pose if that's enough challenge, or take it to half boat and crunch back in. 9. You can always skip reps. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And grab onto your ankles, let the knees spread wide. Take it to a nice cobbler's pose. Feel the hips open, another good break. You'll notice the further we get into class, the more of these stretches we'll take. The muscles are more ready for it, they're warm. There's still tension that wants to be eased. Feel free to rock the head again. So easing back up, let's take our legs to cross leg shape. We'll take a block to each side of us. So you've got options. Tall height is one option. What I like about tall height is that it feels like I have more that I can press up off of. Medium height is also fine. That one feels more stable. So you can kind of choose the height that's going to work best for you. The idea is we're going to try to lift our hips up and then down 10 times. When you do it, if you want to make it harder, you can also float the feet. But the big thing I want you to do, it's more than just pressing through the arms. It's also curling the spine in so that you're trying to get kind of this huge lift all the way up and out. So that's what we're going to try to do. Again, you can go faster than me. That's fine. You can float the legs to make it harder. But take a nice little break each time so that way the wrists aren't too intense. But let's start to push down for 10. And relax. 9. 8. Remember to curl in. 7. Need to lift wrists each time. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Good work. Let's spread the legs out wide. Just gradually ease our way forward. Feel free to give the wrists some attention, just nice, easy rolling. More breaths, just relax into it. When that third breath finishes, come back up, easy cross leg, grab just one block. So with this one, we're pushing into the block so the elbows are bent. When you push, you should feel the biceps popping out and even the pectoralis muscles coming to push and just engage into it. So our idea is continuously pushing as firmly as you can as we slowly lift the block to a high spot. So depending on your shoulders, that high spot might be forehead or above the crown of head. And slowly lower it back down to belly button area. Try to keep pushing the whole time. So take 2 more like that. Up. Breathing. Down. Another complete set. Then we're gonna go up above our head one more time. That time stay. So keep pressing through the journey up. When you get above the head, I'm gonna do a slow countdown of 5. Press as hard as you possibly can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower it back to belly button. This is the last segment. Last count of 5. Push as hard as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing release. Let's come to our knees. Let's do a little shoulder stretch. So from our knees, just reach the right arm up to sky. Do a couple of wrist rolls. And then thread that right shoulder all the way down to the ground. Left hand could wrap around the low back. It could stretch up to the top of the mat. You get to choose what feels best. It's like that, returning back to what we mentioned earlier. What feels just good and true for your body. Good. So wherever that left hand ended up, slide it in front of the face. Press into left hand to rise. Just reach right arm up to sky one more time before we switch. Good. Then the left arm reaches up, a couple of wrist rolls. When that feels good, spread it all the way through. Choose what to do with the right hand. Slide the right hand in, press into it. Left reaches back up to sky for a brief moment. When it drops down, go into plank or kneeling plank. Holding there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down to belly. Stay. Slide the hands by the hips. 5 times with an inhale, just the shoulders lift. Exhale down. 4, 3, 2, 1. When you drop down, shoulders stay. 5 breaths, legs try to lift. So inhale 5, and down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, last 5, shoulders and legs. Inhale, lift 5, and down. 4, 3, 2, last 1, huge up, down, take it to child pose. That's fine, have a nice day. Good. So we're gonna head to some beautiful stretches just to help wrap us up. We'll take it to a nice pigeon pose with the right leg forward. If you like to go through down dog, that could feel really good for a moment just to feel those legs stretching. Eventually, right leg comes forward and through. Before you rest in sleeping pigeon, we're gonna take a little bit of a back bend. So you walk your hands in, maybe even pressing right hand and the right side if that's not too intense. Either stay here just kind of holding the shoulders open, or if you can reach left hand to left foot, look to grab that. Some might be closer to mermaid than others, so maybe the toes slide into the elbow, maybe not. Places you can work with, but no matter what you're doing, feel the sensation of shoulders trying to open. One more inhale with that back bend. And then exhale, let's release, drop down to sleep. Start to head out to a recovery pose. It could be down dog for some. It could be kneeling for others. Whichever you're taking, give the hips some mobility, just easing from the tightness out. So sooner or later you feel ready for left pigeon. Remember back bend first. However, we're popping up. Shoulders roll open, chest is going through. Maybe right hand to right foot. Open, one more inhale. And exhale, start to soften down, sleeping. Our breath flowing in, out. Perhaps back up to that down dog shape or kneeling. Good movements again. And let's step our right foot in between our hands. The back knee can lower down. We're going to be using our blocks to help us take either half split or sink deeper to full split. So if you're in half split, that just makes it easier. If you're going closer to full split, one option I really like to do when I have two blocks is slide one block in so I can sit on it. The other block is like a cane. So that's one option you could take. You can choose the block height. That one you can even up higher. Almost. There you go. Or you could use the blocks to kind of just keep the chest open if you're going even deeper. So you choose. Let's just take a couple of good breaths right here. Good. Let's take at least a moment to feel ourselves trying to go to a little heart opener. So arching up and back. At least a moment trying to bow all the way forward. Good. So easing out. Take this right leg back. Give it a couple of shakes to ease that hamstring. Good. However you want to get there, let's end up with left leg forward and through. Half split is beautiful. Continuing to scoot forward is nice. Just choose that variation that's going to be useful. Let's take at least a moment, arching up and back. At least a moment, dropping forward. Good. Easing it back. Maybe a couple of shakes again. Good work. So heading into sit. We've got two options as our final pose. One option for those that like plow pose is to take the full plow pose. That's a really good stretch for the back. If you don't want to take plow pose, stick with me. We're going to do a bridge pose variation where the legs float like a shoulder stand. So you'll just make your way down to your back, keeping the block close by. From the bridge pose, slide the block under the hips again. And once you have the block under the hips, let one knee float in and then the other. And one leg extend up to sky and the other. You feel a sense of ease in your low back. So I kind of let it round a little bit. That tilts my legs just a little closer to me I like how that feels, but you can shift if it feels better in other place. This is amazing for feet that walk around a lot. It's getting blood, lymph to drain, getting circulation to increase. So if you're comfortable, let's take about 3 more slow, deep breaths in this spot. After the 3, when you finish, you're welcome to start easing yourself back down. Moving block for those that have it. Give our hips some movement, maybe windshield wipers. And this is a point where we can start exploring any last things our body needs. Maybe it needs another fish pose. Maybe it needs a happy baby pose. Maybe it needs just a simple little twist to each side. So take a minute or so to do those last things that would be super useful for the body. Shavasana, when you get there, sooner or later, does not have to look the same for everybody. So some people might keep the feet planted after all the work the back did that helps to relieve it. Some people might choose a different spot that just feels amazing. So you've got lots of options. You can play around with it, but ultimately find a spot eventually. Still fine if you're stretching, but sooner or later settle to a beautiful spot. And at least for a couple of breaths in Shavasana, let's take this breath, allowing inhale to be deep, maybe 4 counts. Let the exhale be even longer, maybe 6 counts. That breath is so useful, bringing us toward the relaxation response in our body. Those times of overwhelm when we're just dreading all that we have to do, this breath can help to ease the mind out of that stress about the future, back into the present moment. Just a couple breaths like that. And just continue to feel your body and mind relax, this nice meditative state of Shavasana. You're beginning to deepen inhales, exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching it out in ways that feel really good. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Doing a couple of bonus breaths. 3, 4 huge relaxing cycles until you feel ready to come up to a comfortable seated place sooner or later. So with hands at the heart, we reconnect back to that idea of finding more sacred in our lives. Now, sacred isn't sacred because somebody else told us it is. Sacred is sacred because we feel it. It feels good and right. Just like it feels good and right to gaze at a sunrise. With this shift toward the sacred, we're able to turn some of our mundane into magical. We're able to find more presence. With that, our life becomes more of a masterpiece. It just feels good and right to be there. So with all this to help lead us on to a marvelous day, let's wrap up the time that we shared together with a sound of Om. A deep inhale now. Om. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.